5, 4, 3, 2, 1. This is Deducter bringing you set 5 of KT vs SKT1. In this game we have Flash versus Best. Must win for KT, and KT brought out its ultimate weapon, Flash, the Yellow Terran, at the 11 o'clock position versus Best, one of the best Protoss around, I should say, at least not against Zerg. He's good against the other two races. Best as the Teal Protoss at the 1 o'clock position. And Best, I think, is certainly more than capable of taking on Flash and beating him. The most important thing, I think, is Flash would destroy Best without much of an effort if he didn't have his hand injury to contend with. Now, this game was played way back in the 12th, I think, of June. But since then, it's been revealed that Flash's hand injury is really quite serious. He's had to go to a special doctor for treatment and get MRI scans and all sorts of stuff. And I think, based on the rumors that I read about on Team Liquid, it seems like Flash will be forced to, at the minimum, dial back the number of televised appearances he makes. Significantly so, in fact. Personally, now that Flash is tying not up for greatness, whereas Best, on the other hand, has made it to 1 finals and is, is not the same type of player as Flash. I think flashing his prime would absolutely destroy Best. It would not be a question. And Flash is really in his prime right now, if it were not for the hand injury. Personally, I think Flash should just take like 2 seasons off. And come back, sort of like Effort. Effort basically took a year off. He's supposed to be coming back in the fall, and supposedly in the CJ practice house he is destroying everybody like Savior used to do. So who knows? Who knows? We'll find out in the fall how well Effort does, but in the meantime, Flash could stand to take like a year off. That doesn't matter. He can come back, and I bet he can still destroy everybody when he decides to come back. He is only 18. There's plenty of time for him to set new records. But if he tries too hard in the next few months and he really permanently destroys his hand, then there's no coming back from that. And I think that would just be unfortunate, to say the least. A tragedy, really. Because, I mean, this is sort of almost a Greek tragedy. The Greek tragedies, the greatest strength of the hero is what ultimately does him in. You take your Oedipus Rex. Oedipus is a very intelligent, curious guy. He just has to know who his parents were. He had to know. If he didn't have to know, he wouldn't be the same character. Looks like everything's going standard. Flash scouting around in the middle a bit, and then scouting in the correct direction with his SEV. He has put down racks into command center. It looks like horse spinning for Best. So Best will have Dragoon out. He'll probably respawn with his own expansion. Everything is standard up to this point. Anyway, so that's what makes a Greek tragedy great. The greatest strength of the hero turns out to be his ultimate weakness. And in this case, it looks like this is going to be the same deal. That Flash, is just practices too hard and tries too much, and he's accomplished incredible feats. But he may be forced to retire because he would be unable to stop practicing. Here's hoping that he can take some time off. He's made so much money. He should probably go spend some of it for good measure. And then he can come back. It looks like Best is scouting around with a Dragoon. Going to scout in the wrong direction. I don't know about this. Best also using a probe scout. Okay, that makes more sense. Flash still sneaking SVD around. Looks like positioning outside the secondary expansion at the 1 o'clock base. Now it's going to the natural. It's going to scout the Nexus. Flash putting on 2 factories, so he's going for probably some early vulture action. Flash devastating with his harassment. So the one advantage I think Flash has going for him in terms of the injury thing is that he's not a very fast APM player. This is why I think as long as he takes time off and his hand isn't permanently injured, he'll be fine. He doesn't rely on speed like Jaedong or Bisu to win. That's not to say that Bisu can be a strategic player when he wants to be. Jaedong can be very clever too. It's just that they also have insanely good mechanics. Whereas Flash's mechanics, they're good, but I wouldn't say they are, at the absolute best. Flash's strategic sense is unrivaled, by far the best of any pro gamer around. He's the one who always has the map hack game sense, who scans in the impossible places where it does seem like he has a map hack in his brain or something, or he's a psychic or something. That's the only way to explain some of his moves. That or he's just playing StarCraft at an insane level. It looks like Best is putting on quite a bit of early pressure for Dragoons. Best putting out a second expansion. Flash really needs to start... hopefully that's Siege getting researched. If it's not Siege, Flash will be in some trouble here at the front, especially when Best reinforces, possibly with some more Dragoons, but he is not. Okay, Siege is finished. That's going to drive Best back for now. Best managed to put on a good amount of early pressure. Good for him. And Best is a macro monster. He's got a second expansion going for him. So... Best, I think, certainly capable of equaling Flash in terms of macro. Best also with clever recalls and clever attacks when he wants to. The danger for Best is if he decides just to macro up to 200, and then launch a direct frontal assault. That's a recipe for disaster against a player of Flash's caliber. He's not gonna. But if he plays cleverly, I think he'll be fine. That SCB fighting this probe here. But with more probes coming in for Best at this third base, I think Best will be fine here. Putting down another pylon to block, completing the walling. Flash with a few vultures, but they're not going to be able to get in here. Fortunately, if Flash had a dropship, there would be nothing that Best could do. Save his base short of killing his own pylon, which is what he would be forced to do. So Flash... these vultures have speed, but no mines, unfortunately. I guess Flash was hoping to break through and do some sort of harass early on. He might be trying to use these vultures to sneak through the natural, but Best has a lot of Dragoons, forcing Flash to back off for now. Flash not able to accomplish any sort of harassment action here. Citadel going down for Best. Flash might be thinking of pushing out here with a few tanks and his vultures. I'm not sure whether this is wise. Best has Observer, and Flash scans it, seeing the little glitch in the graphics and killing it with his Marines. That's Flash for you. He loves killing the Observers, and rightfully so. 9 Protoss scaling information is always important. So Best is going to have an idea of Flash's force composition. Flash also, with his third expansion finished, he's going to set up at his inside mineral-only expansion, it looks like. I think Flash could certainly use some more gas. And now Best putting down pylon and more gateways. He's going to probably go up. And there's a Korean girl who is focused on watching the game. Good for her, I have to say. Looks like we have some more factories going down for Flash. Arbiter Tribunal going up. I would say that's Best signature unit, the Arbiter. And he has a new observer scouting about. He is going to see all these factories going down, so Best will probably respond by putting down 4 more gateways. He's put down 2 more for now, so going up to 6 gateways. And Best is not going to get unprepared, get caught, unprepared rather. Best using his units fairly well to ward off any attempts by Flash to harass. I think that's very important, something other pro gamers often do not do against Flash, which is gotta shut down his harass and make sure you do not lose your economy unnecessarily. So Flash is pushing out a bit, or perhaps he's just setting up for taking the expansion at the 12 o'clock. I don't know. I think it would be very dangerous for Flash to actually move out his main army at this point. He needs more tanks, really. Best also with now more Dragoons rallying up the front. He has big army. There's a small force of Dragoons and a secondary as a secondary force, but he's got a huge army, probably mostly of Dragoons outside his natural. Best losing another observer here. He is going to scout out the positioning at the 12 o'clock. He's going to see the supply depot of the bunker with turrets and tanks. I don't think Best is going to be able to break through at that 12 o'clock. Perhaps if he has speed upgrading and finishes soon, maybe he can try some sort of breakthrough there. Flash's defenses aren't fully set just yet. Perhaps that is what Best hopes to do. But I think attacking at that position is a foolish proposition at best. yeah, well, it's unfortunate he chose himself a name like that. Looks like another expansion going down for Best. Maybe he's going to put down double expansions. So this looks like almost a No Rush 15 game. But this is a No Rush 15 between two of the highest level macroers in the game. So I think the clash between these two titans will be something to behold. We have some more gateways going down for Best, and Flash has his 12 o'clock base set up, and as I predicted, Best put down double expansions at the bottom right position at the 5 o'clock base. So good for Best, keeping one expansion ahead of Flash, but that really only makes him equal in a TVP. So Best trying to clear out some of these mines. I think that is also a wise move. Never a good idea to let Terran have mines lying around all over the map. Best needs to be careful losing some Dragoons there and getting some more HP picked off on the remaining Dragoons a bit carelessly. Could have been worse. I guess Best was distracted, probably macroing his base. Flash, he needs the 2-1 upgrades really to be effective before pushing out. The only fear I have for Flash is that he is ceding the initiative somewhat to Best. Best is free to expand nearly at will on the map, whereas Flash trying to push out a bit with these vultures, but Best intercepting them with his army in the middle of the map. Best with an impressive army out now, I think is going to be more than enough to stop any sort of push by Flash. In fact, Flash is going to be forced to defend for now. Best, again, very conscientious about clearing the mines, which is important to do. Best also with a massive army of Zealots. He will surely have Arbiter or two out soon. He's also put down tons more gateways at his natural. That is Best style. He gets gateways at another main, I should say, and then he macros like a fiend from all his buildings. And even if he loses his mania base trade, he's usually fine because he has additional production buildings at the main of another spawn point. Best with a massive army. He still doesn't have speed on his Zealots. Obviously, he can't make any sort of push before Zealot speed is finished. Flash, I don't know, he doesn't seem to have quite the same number of units. He's in a very good defensive position. Flash might be trying to push out a bit, but I'm not sure whether that's going to be so wise. Flash now sneaking around his vultures to do some harassment. He probably would have been better off splitting his forces. Still, he's done a good amount of damage. Best just going absolutely insane with the gateways there. Flash wiping out all the probes at this 4 o'clock base, but I don't think it's actually going to bother Best too much. He is going to be able to repopulate with probes fairly quickly. Flash did lose a good number of vultures. I still think this type of harass is worth it. Now Best with an Arbiter, he might be angling for a recall here. At the natural, perhaps? No, that would be suicidal. There are turrets and all sorts of units in position. Yeah, Best is setting up for a recall. He's got a shuttle. Wonder what's in the shuttle. Possibly Zealots for Zealot bombs. Now we have more vultures. They're going to sneak into the main of this 5 o'clock base. There are more cannons there. Best is being pretty good about protecting his workers, and Flash is harassed, not being most